Hi guys, this is GA of the podcast Football by the Sea, and I'm just here to talk to you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, well, it's a great way to start podcasting if you're really interested in it. First of all, it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone, your computer, or whatever setup you have. It works perfectly. On top of that, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. It could be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Download the free app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Yeah, I'll start. Yeah, so my fantasy is all messed up now, and it's only the second week of the season. I know you don't play Premier League fantasy, but
Wait. First, stop right there. You sound like all those Manchester United fans where they act like the season is already over. It's only game day 2.
yeah, but I had Lisandro Martinez.
Oh, my
Wait. Fine. I thought, okay, second week, maybe he'll come good. I was mistaken. And I had Darwin Nunez in my starting lineup. I thought that was a sure thing. And then he got sent off. So, like, Liverpool and ManU both, like, destroyed my result for the week.
Listen, it's only game day 2. Look, I guess we could just use that to segue into how Manchester United have started the season. Like, I was talking to one of my United friends from college. And I think, I saw this funny post on Instagram about some dude who sent like a voice message to his friend, and it was like, "Yo, when am I gonna be happy?" So my friend was saying like the same thing, that United is terrible. I was like, dude, like chill. I was like, Arsenal
It's only the second. Yeah.
Then last season I was like, we also lost to Brentford, and we lost to Chelsea and City. Guess what he said to me? He said, "Well, you lost to big teams, Chelsea and Man City." He said, "We're losing to Brighton and Brentford." He said, "It's not the same."
That's true.
And I was just like, okay.
And again, also, if you remember, Arsenal didn't have their full first team out for those 3 games.
Yeah, I know. Then also I was watching DR Sports when they mentioned it to Flex, and Flex was like, "Yo, that was our first team. You guys didn't have
Yeah. So actually, it's a little bit worse.
So I was like, wait, why am I more optimistic than the Manchester United fans?
Yeah, because I think
because of what we've gone through as Arsenal fans.
I think most of the...
So we know that there could still be light, but for them, it's like, it just seems worse.
Of all the fans that are bantering the least, actually, I think Arsenal fans are a bit more understanding from what I've seen online, just because last season it was literally the same thing.
Yeah, it was the same thing. And to be fair, it was a terrible loss by Manchester United. 4-0 inside 36 minutes.
I was watching, I remember I texted you, and I was just like skull laughing face emoji. I don't even know what to say.
A friend who's a United fan called me and said to turn off my TV. and all bantering aside, it was painful to watch.
Yeah.
Like, I just had the game on as background noise because I wasn't paying attention. But then the goals they pretty much are averaging a goal every 10 minutes. Because it was
less than that.
It was 3-0 in...
It was like 5 minutes.
At the 30th minute, it was bad. And
I mean, De Gea...
Yeah, if you just go through the goals, like, De Gea, I think that first one was just... I think that's the easiest one to explain because it was just a goalkeeping error. Yeah. It happens to every goalkeeper once in a while. I think I was watching Ben Foster talk about it, and it was like, it was just a bad technique. And when something like that happens... Because I've seen some goalkeeping coaches that you're actually also supposed to get your body behind the ball as well, because it could slip out. And they just use bad technique, and that he said it happens, and that's something that most goalkeepers can move forward because it happens. But then that second goal where they were, they tried to play it out of the back.
Yeah, that was horrible. And the fact that Eriksen was playing sort of like
he wasn't playing a defensive midfielder. He was playing a deep playmaker role. I think that was what they wanted. And I think the issue is because
it was not working.
I honestly think the issue is David De Gea does not trust Harry Maguire with the ball.
No, I think...
And that's why he chose to pass to Eriksen, even though Eriksen had a man on him right there.
I think the bigger issue is that David De Gea is not the type of goalkeeper that plays out from the back, and Ten Hag wants his team to play out from the back.
He's not the best, but the pass to Maguire was the easier and safer option.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen so many clips of where, like, we've all seen those clips of, Harry Maguire messing up.
Yeah.
And a lot of those clips, if they play a little bit more, you see De Gea yelling at Maguire. So I could be wrong, and maybe I'm reading a bit too much to it, but I just felt like he just doesn't trust Maguire as well.
But even though,
so
still,
he chose to
it
play
was a terrible decision.
It was still a terrible decision, but it's a terrible decision brought on by terrible decision. Yeah, because Maguire was right there to his side.
I mean, it was bad for that second goal.
Yeah, it was bad, and so I know people were saying, "Oh, what is Eriksen doing?" And I understand maybe he could have been a bit quicker, but like there was someone right.
No, you couldn't really blame him too much for that one.
Yeah, I don't blame him completely. Some people tried to, but I was like, no, it was just. And then the third goal was pretty much just putting a short person next to a tall person. It's just a mismatch. I mean, like, I can't remember the Brentford player who scored, but he didn't even have to jump.
Yeah.
He was even like falling backwards as he was doing it, and he was still higher than Martinez. I know, yeah, it's funny, the short jokes and stuff, but it was. I think it could have still worked if have the right person marking the right person. It was
right.
And then the fourth goal was from a Manchester United attack, and it was pretty much just two passes, and they scored, and
that was just horrible. That last goal. I mean,
yeah, and then the whole time I was just seeing Ten Hag shaking his head. Ronaldo was just pretty much just threw his hands up in the air. That like, what? Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
It was like you were watching it even as from an outsider perspective. It was like I felt bad for Ten Hag. I really did feel bad for him because
I did as well.
What he's inherited over there, I think when Ralph Rangnick left, he tried to warn everyone. He said United need open heart surgery this summer. And so far, the board and, the team there at United have not really helped. They've gotten some players in, but what Ten Hag really needs, they haven't done enough work coming into the season.
No, I think it just shows that for any manager to be decent, at least to get their style across, they need the right type of players.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been Manchester United's constant failing. Because if you go all the way back to even David Moyes, they weren't even getting the players that he wanted.
Mm.
And then after him was Van Gaal, they didn't get the players he wanted. Mourinho, they didn't get the players he wanted. And Solskjaer, I think they backed Solskjaer. I'm not sure if those were all the players he wanted. And then even then, I think it was just poor recruitment all around, because they spent pretty much the same amount as Manchester City has.
Yeah, which is crazy.
And yet, you see where Manchester City are, and yeah, it just shows that you can't just spend money for the sake of spending money.
Poor management from the very top, and seeing it from the perspective of Arsenal for so many years, like it's very relatable. Where
it's very relatable.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal's is still a bit different because for a while the Cronkies were not spending any money. They just recently started spending money.
Right.
For United, okay, the Glazers
they've been spending money.
Yeah, they didn't spend as much as their money because United makes its own money, but they still spent some.
And not insignificant amounts.
Yeah. So so I think United fans need to be even more patient than I thought they would have to be.
I mean, I don't think any of them were under the impression that it would change immediately.
No one was, but I don't think anyone expected it to start this bad.
Yeah, and on top of that, Ten Hag also has to deal with the Ronaldo drama. I mean,
no, honestly, I feel like they should just cancel this contract and just let him go.
Yeah,
because I feel that
the issue is that they still need to find a club that's willing to.
No, but I mean just cancel his contract to let him go, rather than try to sell him, because I believe that Ten Hag needs a full refresh, and having somebody of like the magnitude and the gravitas that is Ronaldo is gonna be a bit of a hindrance to that because,
especially in the dressing room, in the
because
headlines.
Because in a way, not to like say anything bad about Ronaldo, but he's won everything. If some coach comes and he doesn't believe what the coach is saying, he could just literally say, "Oh, look at my trophy cabinet."
Yeah,
and technically, his is bigger than Ten Haags.
So this is bigger than most managers.
Yeah, so it's not gonna be. That's why I feel like they should just bite the bullet, let him go, and just do like a full refresh. If even though De Gea has been like their best player for a while, if he wants to go, let him go. Yeah. They should have kept Dean Henderson there. Let it be like a complete. That's what pretty much. Yeah, we're saying what happened at Arsenal is what Manchester United needs: a full refresh. Let some of the old guard, and it's gonna take a while, but they can get there if they support them.
I mean, they're gonna need the fans are gonna need a hell of a lot more patience than I think because of the decent preseason that they had, they thought they would be playing decently at the start of the season.
Yeah, I saw some of their preseason. But most of their best plays came from the youngsters.
Yeah.
I feel like the people who are more malleable.
And Ten Hag can easily mold them as opposed to the older players that. But then, we saw guys like Martial playing well, and they're like, oh, he's coming back to be a striker.
Martial is injured.
Yeah, so
who knows? Things could have been different.
It's really, it's a tough one for them. And they have Liverpool next week, so.
Oh, yeah, and I guess we might as well just jump into the Liverpool game since you mentioned it.
That was not expected. I don't think anyone saw the game going the way that it did, to be very honest.
Neither did I, but when the game started and I saw the formation, I knew exactly what Vieira went there to do. It was a 5-4-1 formation with Zaha as the lone attacker. So
basically just have everyone behind the ball,
absorb the pressure, and just hit them on the break.
Yeah,
and it worked. And honestly, Crystal Palace should have had like 2 or 3 goals. If not for that, maybe if Zaha was just a bit more clinical in front of goal, they could have been leading like 3-0.
I wasn't able to watch a majority of it, but then I checked the score and saw that Palace were 1-0 up, I think, heading into halftime.
Yeah. And
I was just like, wow, okay, this is not the start that Liverpool and Klopp would have expected for their season.
No, Liverpool had it was pretty much a typical Liverpool performance. They had all the ball, trying to do everything. Like, Palace were pretty much defending really well, being resolute. I mean, they were able to block a lot of passing lanes and do stuff. They were really into it. And, they were doing, the whole dark arts of defending, and which was what Nunes fell for, because I saw clips because that headbutt he gave wasn't the start of their issues. They were already sort of going at each other,
and that was the moment that really, because if he didn't get sent off for that headbutt, who knows what could have happened, right? But not only did it kind of cost them that game, but it's going to cost them for the next couple games.
So it's a straight red, so it's
3 games.
Yeah, it's a 3-game ban.
So and listen, it's good to have fiery players like that, especially up front, but at the same time,
no, but his wasn't fiery. It looked more like petulance.
Yeah,
because because people have compiled pretty much the entire battle between them for the whole game, and in a way, Nunes was already showing that he could easily be
flustered and riled up.
Because there was a part he was like, they were jostling, and then he held on to Darwin, and then when they let go of him, and Darwin pretty much swung his hand at him, trying to slap him.
And I'm like, bro, this is not the Portuguese league.
Yeah, and then I went on Reddit to see what Liverpool fans were saying about it, and then someone was like, a lot of them were surprised because they were like, you played in Portugal against Porto has Pepe, one of the worst defenders who plays those sort of games, and it's like, if you could handle that, why couldn't you handle the little shithousery that Anderson was doing.
Yeah,
I think it caught everyone. I was surprised that.
I think it caught Klopp by surprise because in his post match interview, he said that that's not the way that we should handle things, and he'll obviously talk to him and things like that. But yeah, it ruined part of my fantasy, but that's not the main thing for Liverpool fans. It's bad because they weren't able to find a way.
Honestly, it sort of made no difference to the Liverpool performance.
I mean, I would say with 10 men, they were still going forward. They were still pushing Crystal Palace back.
It looked like they had 12 men, and Crystal Palace were the ones that had lost a player to a red card. It's like they even had more possession. They even had more attack, and then Luis Diaz just went on a matin and just scored a beautiful solo goal.
Yeah, so that just shows how dangerous. Like, so you can't count Liverpool out even down to 10 men.
They haven't had the start to the season that they want, but they are still.
Of course.
They are dangerous.
It's just that given how the league has gone the past few seasons.
I've
those
seen
fine margins.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them. Even like Carragher was saying that because of the level that Manchester City play at, that a draw can feel like a loss because the season has started and they're already 4 points behind.
Yeah, they've had 2 draws in the first 2 games. And remember last season, they were already 13 points behind by, was it Christmas or so? So obviously, things can easily change. But because of how precise a team like City is, it's almost like every single point is so precious now in the Premier League that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when these are teams that have been averaging 90 points, 90 points for the past couple of seasons. So it's been crazy. I was pretty surprised at that.
Yeah, but I would say so far the only 2 teams that have remained perfect is City and Arsenal for the first game weeks.
Yeah, and then Arsenal dispatching Leicester City at home 4-2. I do think those 2 goals were sort of flattering to Leicester City.
Yeah, they definitely were.
It was an own goal, and the second goal was one where they beat the goalkeeper at his near post.
But I do want to talk about the first Arsenal goal by Jesus. I mean, I'll hold my hands up. When he was linked with us and when it seemed like he was going to come to Arsenal, I was not expecting what I'm seeing right now. Because obviously in City, he had been in and out. So that's why, again, we are not coaching staff. We're not managers. Sometimes the things that we see on the pitch is just a fraction of what they have access to as managers, as coaches, as scouts. Because, I mean, he's been a revelation. And he's kind of really galvanized the attack of Arsenal.
Yeah, you could see even from the first game, the Palace, even though he didn't score, you could just see from the way how he plays. That you could tell that his performance is also making some of the other players elevate their performance. I think even Gabriel Martinelli is even playing a lot better because of the sort of, I guess, attack he also has next to him. Because I saw some Arsenal fans saying that Saka has been poor, but I was like, no, Saka is still making the same amount of dribbles. It's just that
the more attention is going to Jesus now.
More attention is going to, and I think and also because we have Zinchenko on that left, so there's a bit more attack and stuff coming from that left hand side. Because last season most of it just came from
the right.
It's pretty much like give
Saka,
the ball to
Martinelli.
Saka. It was like give the ball to Saka. Hopefully he does something. But now it's like it doesn't have to be all on him.
Yeah. So the versatility, like you mentioned, with Zinchenko slotting in there, and something else that I noticed that I think has changed in the system is that Granit Xhaka is now way more forward than I was expecting.
Yeah, he's like the way he's been playing the last 2 games remind me a little bit of how Aaron Ramsey was for Arsenal. Because he was like the only midfielder that we had back then who used to score goals. Excuse me.
And Xhaka, so Zinchenko was slotting in at that left midfield position, allowing Xhaka to move further forward and link up with Martinelli and Jesus. And the interplay between all of them, like Xhaka had a couple shots on goal, apart from the goal that he scored, I was just like, wow, I've never seen Xhaka really play like this. And people pointed out that Arsene Wenger had said years ago that he was a box-to-box midfielder. So like, was Wenger right the whole time? Is this something that we're seeing that we didn't know that he was capable of doing?
Yeah, it seems so. It's been so far. I guess it just shows like when a manager has the players that he needs for the system that he wants to play,
right?
It can make a big
difference.
Makes a
huge difference.
I mean, we can all still remember that moment against Crystal Palace where, he got booed through the jersey and the armbar.
Yeah.
And then it's like a total 180. It's like, because even in that game, I saw some people started saying that, do we even need Yuri Tielemans if Xhaka is playing this well?
I mean, listen, Yuri Tielemans didn't have the best game. It was funny. Some Arsenal fans in the stadium were chanting, "We'll see you next week."
Yeah, I saw that.
But I can understand why people are saying that. Obviously, it's still very early. It's only like 2 games. But the fact that he's transitioned so far since Arteta has been here to that position means that he's less exposed, with the strikers and other players from the opposing teams. And
yeah, I think it's also a testament to the player himself because, we on the outside, we've all complained about him, but every manager he's playing under trusts him.
Yeah.
Wenger trusted him.
Emery
trusted him.
Yeah.
Even the little time that Freddie Ljungberg covered trusted him. Mikel Arteta came in and trusted him. So for his country, he's the captain. They trust him. So I was like, there has to be something more to this.
I think there was a time when I can't remember. A personality was like he must have had nudes on all the managers, so that's why they had to play him.
Yeah, I remember. I was thinking that like, he must have something.
Yeah,
because it always looked like he was always making like a string of mistakes, or maybe when he fouls someone, it's a red card, and like.
But he'll be back in the team immediately, and I'm like, man.
So I was like, there's something. I was like, there has to be something we're not seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to him for coming back to it, and Arsenal is doing well, and Leicester, I just don't even know what's happening with them.
Yeah, they haven't bought any single person. I think they've agreed with I think Chelsea for a fee in excess of 80 million.
For Fofana.
They're trying to pull another Maguire, low-key. Although I think Fofana is a good defender. Gabriel Martinelli put him on toast.
I mean, I saw a lot of people saying that, but to me, that doesn't mean that people should say he's not good because.
Oh no, of course
Martinelli has done that to a lot of defenders.
Yeah,
he ran rings around Trent last season. Arsenal still lost those games, but Trent does not enjoy playing against him, and he's a very good player. So I know when people were just saying that just to sort of like banter and stuff, but I think Fofana is way better than Harry Maguire. He actually can move. I mean, he had the chance.
I think he's a bit younger, so
he's a bit younger.
Of a ceiling.
I'll definitely say so. I would say it's just if Harry Maguire is 80 million, then Fofana should be like 100 and something because because he's a much better player.
Another controversial thing that happened was Jamie Vardy up to his old tricks again, trying to get a penalty.
Yeah, I saw people. I mean, the only reason why it bothered me was because it was against my team, Arsenal. But it's something strikers do. So
I know.
I was like, if you're in that position, I was thinking I would have probably done the same thing.
But the thing is that he's gotten away with it so many times. And then I think the commentators were like, "Well, we have Mike Dean on the VAR," and I was like, "Oh gosh, there's no way that this is getting overturned." And then they told the referee to go look at the mirror. I was like, "Oh wow!"
I think what messed up Vardy was the way he fell, because he kind of just threw himself. Yeah, cause he fell down like he had been hit by a car, and so it was just like, and I think sometimes that's what ruins it for a lot of strikers. Is like if you just fell down a bit less dramatic, you probably would have won the penalty. But
they're not winning any BAFTAs or Emmys. But yeah, because like on the first replay, you know, when they show like one of those terrible angles, he looks bad, and then they show a much better, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, nothing happened here.
He was already throwing himself down before, and then you could see Ramsdale was already like slowing himself down.
Yeah.
And so that was that. And then speaking of the other perfect team, Manchester City easily put away Bournemouth, like a nice. Bringing Bournemouth back down to earth after beating Villa last weekend with a nice 4-0.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin De Bruyne, man.
Truth, that goal he scored.
Yeah.
That simple shoulder drop, send the defender, and then outside of the right foot shot. But the main thing I've been seeing people talk about this game is that Haaland only had 8 touches the whole game. I was okay, 8 touches, but he still got an assist.
Yeah, I mean... The eye test merchants need to, and I guess the quote unquote stats merchants need to understand, like there's so much happening in the game, you know, his positioning and the way that all the City players will have to be able to get used to finding him in the box and things like that. It's obviously going to be an adjustment period, but the way that they started the season is much better than they usually start seasons. They usually start slow by most City fans' admissions.
Yeah, last season they started with a loss to Tottenham, and I think was they tied the next game. I can't remember, but yeah, this has been a good start for them.
Yeah.
So they
and for Haaland to already be contributing so early on, that can only bode well for them.
Yeah, he has 2 goals and an assist.
Yeah, like
that's a decent start for any player.
What's the complaint?
So I guess we can just jump to the other big game of the weekend, or the biggest game.
I'm excited for this one. The Rumble at the Bridge.
Chelsea versus Spurs.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it was all Chelsea. Like, if we're being very honest, for a majority of that game, it was like 90% Chelsea. And because a lot of the narrative going into this game had been that Antonio Conte was going to kind of break the bogey team effect that Chelsea had on Spurs, because they hadn't won. I can't remember when was the last time they ever won at Stamford
won
Bridge.
there once, I'm thinking like the last 30 years or something.
Yeah. So we already know there's already a psychological block there for them. So, but then going in there, I thought they were going to perform much better. But the way that Conte set his team up was the usual kind of defensive style, and Chelsea just ran rings around them. You know, Chelsea should have, honestly, if they had a clinical striker, they should have had more goals in the first half.
Oh yeah, definitely. From what I saw, I think it was pretty much a game that, or because I know lots of people have given their Premier League predictions, and pretty much almost everyone, including us, put Chelsea out of the top 4. And I think this was a game for the way they showed, oh, you guys are writing us off. Like, forget all that. And because, yeah, they ran rings around Tottenham. Like, it wasn't even fair. And in a way, the scary thing is that they're still going to get more players.
Yeah, I mean, that Koulibaly goal, that volley was so sweet.
That was a beautiful goal.
Yeah, and, you know, Tottenham were able to get one back by, I think it was Højbjerg.
Yeah, and then it's a goal that, personally, I don't think that goal should have stood. Because Richarlison is standing in an offside position. And I know, he doesn't make a play for the ball, but then a player is considered in an offside position and obstructing the goalkeeper if the goalkeeper has to sort of like look around the player to make the save. And for where Richarlison was, Mendy could not act until after the ball passes Richarlison. Therefore, even though he's not moving, he's interfering with the play.
And I would say we have seen similar situations like last season.
Yeah, like, you know, the Granit Xhaka goal against Manchester United.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
That goal should not have stood by
Right.
the letter of the law.
Yeah.
I don't know why. So it seems like even with VAR, for some reason, they're still making the wrong decision.
So many inconsistencies,
Yeah. And apart from that, there was also a foul in the build-up to that goal as well.
The one that got most Chelsea fans, and most people, rightly so, was the pulling of Cucurella's hair. I think it was Romero.
Pulling. It happened right in front. And then And then some people saying it happened right in front of the referee. But I will give the referee the benefit of the doubt because, the ball is in the air. Maybe he could be looking at the ball. But the fact that VAR looked at it and was like...
And then deemed it was nothing. And then that led Spurs to have another corner.
And then they scored from that. And it's bad, but I can say technically they're consistent because this has happened to Arsenal when Guendouzi was still there playing against Manchester United and Fellaini pretty much grabbed him by the hand and pulled him. No foul, no yellow card, no retroactive action.
Which is weird because Fellaini also has big... I feel like people who have big hair should protect each.
He had cut his hair then.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I said technically the refs are being consistent, but they've been consistent of not following the rules. What I was hearing was that they're saying that technically there's actually no rule that says anything about hair pulling. And so it's at the discretion, and it's sort of seen no differently to like a pull on the shoulder.
Oh, please. I mean, it brought the player down. It had an effect.
I'm sorry, that to me, that is pure violent conduct.
Yeah.
Because you're pretty much yanking someone's head back.
And the thing is, I think Spurs fans would agree on that, but they wouldn't care because they got the draw. But the thing is that people were acting like Conte pulled off a master. I'm like, no. If Chelsea had better people in front,
Spurs were lucky.
Yeah, that game
Chelsea
should
had a striker, and if there was a referee that actually called those things out,
exactly.
Spurs again. Even if Chelsea didn't have a striker, but at least the ref called out those fouls and those calls leading up to the Spurs goal. The game would have ended 2-0 to Chelsea.
Yeah, and that's looking at it objectively, not even looking at it from any sort of rival point of view. It's just what was called and what wasn't. I think most people agreed, even online, everywhere I've seen, is like...
Yeah, apparently the Chelsea fans don't like that ref.
Yeah. I mean, Thomas Tuchel had a bunch of words for him in his
I'm hearing that interview. He might be suspended because of the comments he made.
I mean,
I've also seen Chelsea fans start like a petition to make sure, I think it's Anthony Taylor.
Yeah,
make sure that he doesn't ref any.
That's probably Chelsea. Never going anywhere.
It's not going to do anything.
The FA protects their referees very vehemently.
But I mean, I feel like for them they have a bit of a reason because I remember was it like 2 seasons ago, it was Spurs against Chelsea. And I think it was a backup goalkeeper playing, and I think there was a loose ball. I think was it Kovacic who ran for it? No, it was Marcos Alonso, and the goalkeeper almost pretty much did like a flying kick into the player, but yet he gave the foul to Tottenham, even though it was a Tottenham player that fouled. They were like, no one could explain it, and it's because of things like that people want them to introduce stuff where like, mic this for us so we can hear what they're thinking. At least so that if we know how they came to a decision, even if you don't agree with it, you could see their thought process.
Like in other sports, like here in the U.S. with American football and basketball and other sports, the refs are mic'd up so they can actually explain and I think even if people don't agree, at least they will have a better insight.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, I saw someone put a comment somewhere. Said that anytime he watches like a European game, whether it's Champions League, Europa League, or Conference League, he hardly ever ends those games thinking, "Oh, the referee messed up." We said before, when it comes to the Premier League, every weekend there's
the same thing
with the ref.
Yeah, I mean, listen, no matter how many times we get tired of talking about it, something always happens, and then it's like, we have to talk about this again. But then, what was even more interesting than that was after they got the goal at the death with the Kane header, which I thought was actually an own goal by Reece James because it seemed like his knee
slightly changed the direction. It could have hit the bar and gone in. So, but I think they're not really sure. That's probably why they kept it as a Harry Kane goal.
Yeah, I was pretty sure because I saw Reece James and then he just looked down like, oh. But anyways, after the final whistle, Tuchel and Conte went to shake hands and everything kicked off.
Yeah, it was such a weird thing. At first, I wasn't sure. I was like, who didn't let go? And then it was later. I think we found out it was Tuchel who didn't let go, and then he said he wanted him to look him in the eye.
Yeah. He was like, I thought we were supposed to look each other in the eye. After, and I was like,
I like no. It was already building up. I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, the game had everything. It had fire.
Yeah.
Fire.
They had already had like a bust up previously when I think
it was when Spurs
no,
scored.
I think it was what was it?
Yeah, it was when Spurs scored their first goal. And I think Conte or something. The way he celebrated, I thought was maybe got too close to the Chelsea dugout, and Tuchel took offense to that.
No, but when Chelsea took the lead,
and then he pretty much did his own and Jose Mourinho and
celebrated in front of
and celebrate.
So I guess they had been building up some tension, and then after the final, it just looked weird. It's like when someone goes to shake your hand and then doesn't let go, and then Conte's reaction when he turned around, it was like. It was like
oh, so this is how
it was like a Nollywood film. It was like, with the sound effects. It's just like, it was very dramatic. It was very dramatic.
It was very dramatic.
Oh,
yeah, but I loved it though. It was like,
it
was like the Premier League is well and truly back.
Yeah,
I know people started comparing it. They're like, oh my god, are we gonna have like another Ferguson, Wenger, or maybe Jose Wenger or Jose and almost everybody?
yeah. I think ESPN put a picture of Mourinho and Wenger fighting versus Tuchel and Conte, and they were like, the good old days.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's nice. I mean, the rivalry has always been there. Well, then, yeah, it's. I think,
it didn't end there, right?
Yeah, I know. I think it's really just because of Conte's history with Chelsea. I think what was it that the commentator said? It said that Conte once a Chelsea friend, now a Chelsea foe. Like the way he said it was just. It was like spoken word. It just flowed.
No, it's I think in his post-match press conference, Tuchel, did you see like he flexed his muscle? He was like, I was just like, what? Now he was flexing before he started asking him questions. I was like, who does this guy think he is?
Dude's a troll.
And then he said he loved it. Conte said he loved it. And then Conte went on Instagram. I was like,
really?
What? He went on Instagram and commented like, it was a picture or it was like a video of when Tuchel was celebrating in front of when he ran down the touchline and celebrated in front of them. And then Conte was like, lucky I didn't see you, or else I would have tripping you up would have been nice. And I'm like, what? I was like, what is happening? This is like some Instagram influencer beef type, like some reality show beef on the internet. But listen, we love to see the rivalry. It just makes the game more fun for us, and it's better than watching a soap opera, in my opinion. No offense to all those reality show fans, but this is the best reality show.
Yeah, man, because you can't write this stuff. You really cannot write this stuff. And so if we just go through the remaining games, Forest got their first win back in the Premier League against West Ham 1-0.
I was very surprised.
Yeah, it just wasn't West Ham's day. I think they hit the post twice. They had a penalty saved. And then Forest scores like a lucky goal that just bounces between the legs of their striker and goes in.
I believe it was Taiwo Awoniyi.
Yeah, so he's first.
Good for him.
Yeah, and Villa beat Everton 2-1. So Everton's still bottom of the league. Not bottom, but
United is bottom of the league.
Bottom, but their second loss. We'll see what happens there. And then Chelsea is also trying to buy their. I can't remember the name of the player, but they're also trying to buy pretty much their best player right now. And then Brighton and Newcastle played out a decent 0-0. So that Newcastle had to wear their fourth kit because of kit clash.
All three kits between Brighton and Newcastle were clashing.
Yeah, I've only seen that like once or twice before. It was pretty funny. And then Southampton 2 Leeds throwing away a 2-goal lead away from home.
I don't know. Like Leeds needs to sort out their defense. I didn't watch the game, but I saw some of the highlights, and I guess good for Southampton. I still think they're probably going to go down this season, though.
Yeah, Leeds showed some decent stuff, but their defense let them down. They should have won that game.
Yeah.
And Wolves 0, Fulham 0.
Yeah, nothing much.
And that was all the games this week. A very, very eventful weekend. It was.
Yeah.
It was great. And so, moving on to next week. We'll see if maybe some. I'm not sure if any transfers will get done or if we'll see any new players coming in, but we still have a bit to go in the transfer window. I think Chelsea's probably. I still see the rumors with Aubameyang, but then they're also hearing that they also want to keep him, and then we saw they're also trying to go for Frankie De Jong.
There's it's a lot happening. I think the Frankie De Jong saga I was watching Fabrizio Romano today depends on him, not on Chelsea, not on ManU or any other club. He has to decide whether he wants to leave or not, even though Barcelona are trying to put pressure. Aubameyang, I think if they can get De Jong out, getting Aubameyang out will allow them to be able to sign other players.
I don't even know why they're doing that, because they weren't able to register Koundé for this weekend's games.
Yeah, they still haven't registered all their players that they signed.
No, they were able to register all of them except Koundé. So Lewandowski was able to play the others and Christensen. So Koundé is just.
It's just a weird. It's baffling in the weirdest way possible. But honestly, I think there's gonna be a tell-all book, a movie, and I can't wait to actually find out how everything went down.
Yeah, me too. It's gonna be very interesting. All right, so let's just go over the fixtures for this coming weekend. It's nice that we're not getting any. What is it? I think there's no international break, or is there? So.
I hope not.
Yeah, but anyway, so starting with Saturday, the 20th, this first game is Spurs versus Wolves.
Ooh. I would have said this would have been a more interesting fixture if Spurs lost the Chelsea game, but I still think Wolves are decent defensively. They're very decent, and but Spurs can unlock that with Kulusevski and Kane and Son.
Yes, Spurs are playing at home, so I think
it
probably would be a Spurs
be
win.
like a 2-0 or something, or sorry, a 2-1, because defensively Spurs are still a little bit suspect. Let's say a 2-1.
Yeah, they haven't kept a clean sheet in either of the two games. And then next we have Crystal Palace Villa. From what I think I'll have to give this to Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I mean
they seem to have a proper structure and game plan. From even though they lost to Arsenal, you could still tell that this is a team that could have punished Arsenal if they were a bit more clinical.
Yeah.
And
Villa, I think, won. Did Villa win last week?
Yeah. They beat Everton.
Yeah, so I'm still not fully convinced by them, even though they brought some additions in this transfer window. But I think it'll be an interesting mid-table game. I still think, like you, Crystal Palace will take this one.
And then next we have Everton versus Nottingham Forest.
Oof. Everton are playing at home, and I think they should at least try to really go for the win. But I'm just not fully convinced with Lampard right now. And Nottingham Forest have a point to prove coming back into the league. So this might be a draw. Might be a 1-1.
I could see Everton winning this game because they're playing at home, and I know they're desperate for points. So yeah, I think I'll give it to maybe like a 1-0.
I could see that.
Next is Fulham versus Brentford. I'll have to give it. Brentford has started the season well. They started with a draw against Leicester, coming from 2 goals down, and then dispatching United very easily. They'll be full of confidence right now.
Yeah, but right now Fulham played really well against Liverpool in the first weekend, so I don't think they'll feel. And they got a draw this past weekend, so they started decently too. Obviously,
yeah, but
Brentford
these are 2 teams that will know each other pretty well from the Championship.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if all that will play into it, because yeah, I mean it could. If I was to lean, so I would lean more towards Brentford.
I would probably lean towards Fulham on this one. Maybe like a 2-1.
All right, and then we have Leicester versus Southampton. I think this is a straight up Leicester win.
I don't know. Leicester have been a little bit suspect.
Yeah, but it's Southampton. The team
Southampton
to go
still
down.
managed to get a draw against Leeds. So
yeah, but they were playing at home. Leicester is playing at home, and this is the team that Leicester beat 9-0 like 2 or 3 seasons ago.
Yeah. I don't know. You could get one of those Ward-Prowse free kicks. But yeah, I'll give it to Leicester.
And finally, on Saturday is Bournemouth versus Arsenal.
Arsenal should take care of business. But Bournemouth are no mugs, obviously, coming back into the Premier League.
Yeah, you would expect Arsenal to take this based on how they're playing. And although the game is away and Bournemouth will want to bounce back after being thoroughly beaten by Man City.
But the way Arsenal is playing right now,
we feel more of the confidence is with Arsenal, and I'll give this an Arsenal win. They should be winning this game if they want to be in the top 4. And on Sunday, we have Leeds versus Chelsea.
Oh, this could be interesting.
I don't know, Chelsea spanked them last season in this exact fixture.
I mean, Leeds have made some decent additions, and we saw.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, based on how Chelsea played against Spurs, I don't think anyone was expecting them to be that good against them. So
I don't think they're going to replicate that against Leeds. Obviously, that was a London derby.
Yeah, I know with derbies you can throw form out the window, but I think there's.
I mean,
there's
Sterling and Cucurella will
level.
definitely cause problems on the wings, for Leeds. So. I think Leeds might show us something in this game. So I think I don't think they'll win necessarily, but I think they can show something. Maybe it'll be like a 2-1 to Chelsea. But I still think Leeds could pull like a draw out of their hat.
All right. And we have West Ham Brighton.
West Ham will want to bounce back. Well, and so will Brighton after they drew. But West Ham are playing at home. I think they'll have. These are two teams that are sort of hovering in that, top 8 sort of position. So it might be almost evenly matched. But I think
they're even.
Yeah, I think West Ham might have a little bit more just because they're playing at home.
All right, then Newcastle versus Man City is the last game on Sunday.
Don't even have to really say too much on that one. Man City.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning towards City, but Newcastle are pretty decent, man. They have a win and a draw. So far, they haven't lost.
Bruno Guimaraes defensive display.
Yeah, and Newcastle have shown that they're not easy to beat anymore.
Well, and that's where the Haaland effect comes in, because now you have someone that can unlock those sort of really tough defenses.
I guess we could say this would be like a good test for those games that they struggle in.
Yeah.
But I'll still give it to Man City just because they know how to win. And finally, the biggest games for two teams that technically you would say have disappointed so far.
Yeah.
Is Manchester United versus Liverpool. And this game ended 5-0 last year. And so far, United have 0 points. Liverpool only have 2 points because of the 2 draws. But then Liverpool have no Darwin Núñez. And I think Jota is still injured as well.
Yep.
So I think Firmino will have to come back in.
They have a couple injuries in Liverpool. But given how badly that ManU have been playing, it's almost like you can't even. It's almost hard to go against Liverpool, but this seems like one of those tricky fixtures where at Old Trafford, if if ManU make any mistake, like the fans are really going to rip into them. So
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, this is against Liverpool.
yeah, that's the big
Because
problem.
I think, like, yeah, Liverpool are their rivals and stuff, but, losing to a very, very good team, I think is easier to swallow than than losing to Brentford or Brighton.
I think right now the most important thing for ManU is sort of the way they play against Liverpool. I don't think they'll necessarily win, but at least if they have a response, that could give the fans something.
I think this is gonna come down to how Manchester United play. I think Ten Hag, just for this game, has to do something different.
He really does, and I think he will.
I think he'll either have to park the bus or do something, just because if he plays as open as he did in the first two games, Liverpool will rip them apart.
Yeah, like they still have, even without Nunez, Salah is there.
Yeah, Firmino is just gonna come in to play that middle role, and then they still have Diaz, they still have Salah, they still have a decent midfield, and so yeah. I mean, I will still give it to Liverpool, but then who knows? Maybe United pull a rabbit out of a hat.
Yeah, I think that's all the games, right?
Yeah, that's all of match week 3. It's just so great to have it back.
Yeah. On the transfer front, there's not too much news so far, but is there anything else that we needed to go over?
No, the biggest things were those games: the Chelsea, Spurs, United, Brentford, and I guess on an Arsenal front, Nacho Monreal announced his retirement.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good luck to him. You've been watching the All or Nothing series, right?
No, I haven't.
Really?
I just haven't had the time, and I've heard people say that it's actually pretty good, and it actually does a decent job of making Arteta look better. Because I think a lot of Arsenal fans were very apprehensive.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Because they felt like, it's gonna make Arsenal look silly, and everyone will be making fun of us. But apparently, it's having the opposite effect. And this is from even rival fans who are saying this, that it's actually making you sort of understand a lot of the things better behind the scene, and it's making the club look good and Arteta look good.
Yeah, I mean, you were right. When it was announced, there was a lot of kind of backlash against it. But so far, what I've seen, all the 6 episodes that have been released on Amazon so far. But what it has shown me the most was just how immensely pressurized a Premier League season can be for a club that has a lot of stature, history, and passionate fans. Because breaking news. So we're just looking at a tweet here. Is this real or is this just on?
Yeah, I think it's real.
Yeah, just make sure it's real before I actually say this on. Yeah. Okay. So. Apparently, Elon Musk tweeted that he wants to buy Manchester United and said, "You're welcome." I don't know if he follows football or anything, but that would be insane. Because
one of the comments says, "Send Maguire to Mars."
That would actually be really funny. Diverting from what I was saying, but yeah, like I said, it shows a lot of fans' opinions. It shows a lot of the players and their personal sort of lives and things like that. So it reveals a lot, but it also doesn't reveal too much. about, I guess tactically and things like that. And they did address a lot of the stuff about Aubameyang and how he left the club, mostly from a club perspective. But yeah, when you get a chance, go check it out. It is a good series. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it so far.
Yeah, that's it. I would try to watch some more episodes this week when I get the chance, just to catch up.
Yeah.
And I think that's it from us. Thank you for listening and joining us. We will catch you guys next week.
Peace.
Take care, everyone. Bye.